Hey guys, KRX here with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the Deluxe Genius Full Ball from Kamen Build. This is a special full ball that Build uses to achieve its final form. So, let's get started. First off, let's take a look at the Genius Full Ball on its own. So the Genius Full Ball is a jumbo-sized full ball done up in clear yellow and clear blue. You can see it has the same basic design as a normal full ball, as indicated by the two securing parts at the top and bottom, as well as the cap. And you can see that it's got some pieces that are painted in a nice metallic silver color. And you can see it has a mirror on the inside, which is going to be part of the gimmick. Have the cap up here, which has the build mark with a rainbow background. You can twist the cap, as always. It has the two insertion tabs here on the back, this one of which is also a button. Got your Ganbarizing QR code on the side. The rails right here, and the battery compartment here, and includes batteries. The speaker down here. Then on the bottom, you got the build mark with this hollow foil rainbow sticker on the inside. So while it's outside of the build driver, you can press the button a few times to get some different phrases. Pressing it once will get you the activation phrase. Where you see it light up on the inside, and you see a couple of balls on the side. Then, if you press it 5 more times, you'll get some phrases from Sento Kiryu, Build's alter ego. And for the fifth phrase, it actually will randomly play one of two phrases, so let's see if we can get the other one. There we go. You also see that they kind of flash in two different colors for each bottle. And we'll get more into those when we get to its use with the build driver. Next, we'll bring in the Deluxe build driver so we can properly test out the Genius Full Ball with it. So first we'll activate the ball. And go from there as usual. And there we have the transformation into Kamen Rider Build Genius form. Now, going over that again, I'm going to get you guys a closer look and kind of explain something that happens with the bottle. So putting it in again. As I turn it, notice how the sounds go off. What you might have noticed is that the pace kind of changed a little bit, and that's because as I was turning it, I was kind of cranking it at different speeds, and that's because the way the sounds activate are actually based on the turning of the crank. In that if you turn it for that much time, it'll say yeah a total of 6 times, but if you do it less than that, it'll actually do less sounds, or make less sounds. And if you pay attention to the lights in the build driver, you'll see that the combinations were actually all of the combinations for Build's first 10 forms, from Rabbit Tank to Octopus Light. Next, we can activate these special attacks. So there are 3 of them. First is done by turning the crank 1 to 2 times. That activates the Genius Attack, which is a special attack powered by all of Build's organic sides. Then if we turn it 3 to 4 times, we'll get the second attack. That activates the Genius Break, which is a special attack powered by all of Build's inorganic sides. Then if we turn it 5 or more times, we'll get the final special attack. Which activates the Genius Finish. Now, removing the ball from the driver, we can kind of get into how some of this works. So first off, the way that it's set to get ready for the transmission is that the individual sounds only play when you press and release the button. But if you press and hold the button, that's what makes it go into the standby mode. As for the effect on the inside of the driver, for those of you familiar with the Shift Trideron from Kamen Rider Drive, you might already know how this works, but for those of you who don't, the way this works is that if we take a look in here, we can see that you've got a couple of clear pieces here, and then a pair of mirrors in there that create a kind of infinite tunnel effect. As for the way that the balls seem to move on the inside, we just push something on the inside here. You can see it actually causes the back panel to move back a little bit. And so the shifting back and forth causes the image to shift and make it look like the balls are undulating up and down as you work the driver. Next, I'll give you guys a demonstration of the sounds and the lights and sounds with my lights turned off so you can get a better look at them. And just for fun, we can add to Genius form using the Hazard Trigger's Max Hazard On mode. And it's cool that it does add on like that. Though, it's clear that the Hazard Trigger wasn't quite timed for the Genius Full Ball, as they do kind of overlap each other just a bit. And last but not least, since it's compatible, we can also use the Genius Full Ball with the Evolve Driver and Evolve Trigger. Though it can definitely be said that with the Genius Full Ball adding on to the Hazard Trigger, or Evolve Trigger rather, it's definitely more of a cacophony because the two are clearly kind of battling for attention. And there we go. So overall, the Genius Full Ball definitely has some cool lights and sounds that makes it feel like a final power-up item, but in terms of being a build's final power-up, it feels a bit underwhelming. And that's because Genius Form is supposed to be powered by the essences of all 60 Full Balls, but that's not really well represented here with the toy, since it doesn't really have sounds that actually represent or are specific to some of the different balls or different forms. As far as we go, we have some light combinations for his first 10 forms, as well as a couple of special attacks that represent the two different kinds of Full Balls, but besides that, the transformation and the final special attack, we don't really have much else. And that is disappointing, just because it kind of feels like we have all of this stuff that could be done with it, but because of how many Full Balls there are, they really didn't want to do that, because that would drive up the price a lot. And that kind of gets me to my thoughts on the Build Roleplay toy line as a whole, or kind of the Build toy line just in general, in that I feel like a lot of it was underwhelming, and it suffered because of how many Full Balls there were. Well, yes, you got those 30 different kind of transformation sounds for those forms in the Build driver. It kind of felt like the rest of the toy line suffered as a consequence of having that many gimmick items and forms. For a lot of them, they either didn't read the Full Balls properly, or they just did so in a more generic name, or didn't even read them at all. Like, it's kind of also the reason why I'd say that the Full Ball Buster was underwhelming, because while I could read the names of all those Full Balls, you didn't really have special attacks for the different ones, and it really just counted how many you put in, not even really taking into account if they were still in or not. And I do feel like, in terms of the overall toy line, it would have been better if they had stuck with a smaller amount of basic forms, perhaps just the original 10. I think if they'd done that, they might have been able to actually do more with what they had, instead of trying to kind of go overboard or just kind of give collectors or, the kids a lot of things to collect. And it really just is disappointing that they decided to really go for quantity over quality with the season, because I feel like it could have been great, because the concepts that are in play are definitely really good, and the forms and how they look and how they behave, those were all really cool, but to see the toys done in such a way where they're not really living up to the full potential of what you have there is, the kind of thing that makes you feel they should have really kind of looked at past seasons and tried to be more like them, trying to, still keep the mix and match gimmick, but perhaps either, find a way to spread out the forms throughout the season, or just, stick with a select number. Because, as you guys seen through the football showcase, and as I described, there are a lot of forms that have not been shown in the TV series, or just shown at all. And I feel like this kind of is the culmination of how underwhelming the toy line is, because, I think it would have been cool if there was, just those 10 forms, and so you got a special attack for each of the base 10 forms, but instead we just get the 3 special attacks, and they are kind of generic. So, as far as this goes, obviously, if you're a big collector of the Build toy line and you're going for all the major things, this is an item to pick up, but it could have been more, and I do hope that for next year's Kamen Rider series, they do reel it back and try to not go as overboard as they did with the number of gimmick items. So, next time I'll be doing the BCR Build Genius form, Tuesday at 6 PM PST. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is KRX50, writing off.